Live from Pawtucket, it's a mad show. Welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Stephen Buckner, joined tonight by my lovely co-host, PJ Pat Tierney, and our vice co-host, Dan Conklin, who, with him being here, it means no one is watching the show at home right now, because I know for a fact he's the only person that watches this show. Our ratings come in, and usually it's just a rating of 1 because one person is watching and no one else. Not my family, not any other friends. But we thank you for coming in to join our conversation tonight. We're going to talk about a couple of the new movies that came out. I know you probably haven't had an opportunity to with things going on.
Busy.
And but then we'll maybe talk a little bit about some of the summer movies coming out, particularly what's coming out this month, Mandalorian being one of those. So we'll probably talk a little bit about Star Wars, maybe talk a little bit about the Darth Maul series, which wrapped up. Was it last week that the finale?
I think so. Yeah, last week.
Yeah.
I was so close to getting to watch that this weekend because I have gone to the library to get the Roku stick, because at the library, the Roku stick they have, it has the Disney Plus subscription on it.
And you can watch it.
So I went, and it was finally my turn. I had to wait a month to be able to have my turn to get it. I got it home, and the person who had it before me had signed it out of Disney Plus. So I couldn't watch it. They're like, bring it in.
That's got to be kind of infuriating.
Bring it in tomorrow. I'm like, I work tomorrow. Because I wanted to watch.
When you were able to take that out from like how long do you get to keep
3
that?
weeks.
3 weeks. Oh, that's not bad. So that's long enough to like watch a series if the series is like out completely.
Because I wanted to watch Maul and I wanted to watch Andor, season 2, and it.
Oh, so the both of you have only seen the first season of Andor. You haven't seen season 2.
Correct.
Yeah. You really should watch season 2 because season 2 is really. I mean, season 1 was excellent, but season 2 is also very excellent.
Any word on are they gonna do season 3?
No, they're not doing a season because
Rogue One was season 3.
It dovetails with Rogue One.
Right.
So the season 2 ends where Rogue One begins, pretty much. It just dives right into it. So we'll talk a little bit more about Star Wars, but before we get that far, I just want to go into the 2 new releases that I did see. So I saw one which well, let's talk about the first one, because I know our director had seen it, and she was talking to me about it on our last show when I hadn't seen it, but not on air, just like before the show. But I finally saw Michael, which actually came out last month, the Michael Jackson biopic. And that was actually pretty good. Did you see that?
I did not.
No?
Danielle did, but I did not.
So I finally did see it after waiting a few weeks to see it, because when it did come out, there were like other movies that I prioritized above that. So I finally did go see it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was pretty good. I think it's a movie where it's made for like the Michael Jackson fans, and I wouldn't call myself a super Michael Jackson fan, but I grew up with his music. You know, when you were a kid in the early 80s, or actually throughout the 80s, his music was inescapable. Everyone knew his music. He was the biggest star of the decade.
Is it still the top of the box office, or was someone else able to beat it?
I haven't checked. Oh,
Good one.
I didn't even see it. I walked right into. But the reason I say it's for the fans is because it's sort of like a love letter to Michael and his talent and his music. And it's not so much a warts and all type of biopic where you see.
Is it a thriller?
Oh my God. All right, you're allowed one more pun, and then you're going to stop. Because it's gone from bad to even worse. There's a double pun for you.
Double, yeah. You know Weird Al.
But anyway, it's directed by Antoine Fuqua, who did Training Day. So he's a respectable director. So you would expect, it to. He's going to approach the subject matter, as a serious director and not someone who's just looking to make a fluff piece. But it is produced by Jackson's siblings, his surviving siblings. So they're not going to delve into the child abuse claims from the 90s and the stuff like that. This movie actually only goes up to about 1988, which is where it ends. So it's focused mainly. I mean, it does do a little bit of the Jackson 5 stuff. So you do see him get his start a little bit. But it goes pretty quickly to him as a young adult in the late 70s, where he's looking to break free from his father's influence and do his first solo album. And then when he's becoming, the biggest pop star in the world, when he does Thriller in the 80s. So that sort of is the focus of the movie, is his relationship with his father, because his father was abusive and his father was very controlling. And it does not paint a positive picture of his father. That is an area where it is sort of warts and all, because it does show that their father was abusive, like both physically and verbally. And that you see is sort of something that sort of created like a bad self-image in his mind, which led to the plastic surgeries on his nose and whatnot. But it does focus mainly on his career. It doesn't get too much into his personal life. I mean, it touches on it, but really it's focused on him creating his albums, creating his music. The actor that they got to play him is actually his real-life nephew. It's, I think, Jermaine's youngest son. And he is incredible in the part. Like, he disappears into it. You kind of really think it's Michael, because he can move exactly like him. Michael Jackson was, whatever negative things you want to say about him, he was immensely talented. And he not only singing, but dancing as well. And the actor that plays him, I think his name is Jafar Jackson, he has all of those dance moves down. And I'm not just talking about anyone can moonwalk. It's not that impressive to see someone moonwalk anymore. When Michael Jackson busted it out the first time, everyone went crazy. But nowadays it's not that. But to see him do all the other little dance things that Michael does, like Michael was very influenced by my mind just blanked on his name.
Wasn't James Brown?
James Brown, thank you. Very influenced by James Brown, and you can see that during the Jackson 5 stuff. But he still did a lot of James Brown influenced stuff. But then he was influenced by, break dancers doing the popping and locking and all sorts of other things. He was obsessed with Gene Kelly. And so this actor portraying him manages to do all those dance moves that Michael did, and he does them well. And I'm assuming the singing is them just using Michael's tracks, the actual recordings and whatnot. But if it's him doing it, so I didn't look into that to see whether it's him, because a lot of times they'll hire actors that can sing and do it, but other times they're just lip syncing. So I didn't look into what was the case here, because it sounded like Michael Jackson to me, so I just assumed, it's the family doing it. So you assume they've got the rights to the music. Because one thing I was saying, it's you expect with the family, they're not going to show his darker sides and the darker, like I said, the stuff that happened in the 90s. But really, I don't think you could make a Michael Jackson movie without the family's blessing, because unless you get the rights to his music, what good would making a Michael Jackson movie be? I remember years ago someone made a Jimi Hendrix biopic, which I didn't see, and they didn't get the rights to his music. And it's like, well, why do you want to watch a Jimi Hendrix movie without any of his music? Or maybe it was another artist, but I'm pretty sure I remember Jimi Hendrix's movie. They did make one. I never did see it, but it was held up by the rights to his music.
Was it, because it was, I don't know whether you're thinking this one, was it the Bob Marley one?
I didn't see the Bob Marley one, but that, I think that had his music in it. But I know there have been like other artists that they wanted to make, like I think they wanted to make a movie about Janis Joplin, and I think her rights to her music held that up. And I think it's been because they make a lot of these biopics now, specifically about musicians. And there's so many now that, you miss, like I didn't even see the
Bruce Springsteen
one that came out last year. I'd like to see it, but I'm not so much of a Bruce Springsteen fan that I had to rush out and see it. But, there are ones that are like top tier. Like I would say the best two that were ever made are Walk the Line about Johnny Cash and Ray about Ray Charles. Now there's been a ton, and Bohemian Rhapsody, I think a lot of people would put that in the top tier as well.
Complete Unknown was very, very good too.
Oh yeah, about Bob Dylan, that was a pretty good one. So I would say that this Michael Jackson one falls just short of those. It's almost as good as those movies, and as far as like getting you to care about the character and enjoying the music, it's on par with those. But because those movies really did kind of show you more behind the curtain on the artist, and this one not so much. I feel like most of what happened in this movie I already knew about from various interviews and news stories about him. I kind of feel like I knew most of what happened. The one thing that did surprise me is that I didn't realize that that MTV, because to me MTV is synonymous with Michael Jackson's videos. Like I saw Thriller on MTV. That they were not playing his music videos when they first started, because they were not playing any music videos by black artists, which I had no idea that happened.
And that was,
I don't remember that.
80, right? Or was
Thriller came out, I think, in 83.
Yeah, I think MTV was 82, right?
Yeah. So they had to fight to get, because Thriller, the video is not just a music video, it's like a movie, a short film.
Wasn't George Lucas involved in
John Landis made Thriller, but he also made a video for Billie Jean and Beat It, and so he had like at least three videos, and then he also did one for The Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney. I remember that one as well. So he had several videos. That album was on the charts for like a long time.
I think what I'm thinking about, isn't his thing in Disney World something he teamed up with
Captain
George
EO.
Lucas?
Yeah, I think George Lucas was involved.
And what's his name?
That's long gone.
Yeah.
They don't show that anymore.
That's a long time ago.
I would like to, I remember thinking it was cheesy at the time, but that's something I would like to see again. Like, it would be cool if they like brought that back for like a special event or something. So, but that's, if you're a Michael Jackson fan, I think you probably will enjoy the movie immensely. And the way that they leave it at 1988, they could make a sequel, because there's another 20-something years of his life there, that and arguably the weirder part of his life, which could make for a more interesting movie. So I think there is talk that they might make a sequel. I didn't look to see how well this movie had done, because that obviously makes a deciding factor in whether they make sequels. But I would go see the sequel if they made one. Granted, most of his better music they've already covered.
Yeah.
But, so the other movie I went to go see is maybe a little lesser known one, which I talked a little bit about on the last show. It's called In the Gray, which stars Henry Cavill, Jake Gyllenhaal, and Elsa Gonzalez, and it's directed by Guy Ritchie. So it's kind of in the vein of a heist movie, but it's not an actual heist. The premise of it is that Elsa Gonzalez is a lawyer who specializes in recouping loans from people that aren't actually being loaned to them by banks, but by these rich, I forget what they call them. It's not banks, but it's like these people that give out, like asset managers or something like that, where they have money and they loan out like huge sums of money to people. And in this case, it's to a billionaire criminal. And he's been loaned $1 billion and he's not paying them back. So she's been hired to recoup that $1 billion from this crime lord. And, she gets a percentage of recouping it. So Henry Cavill and Gyllenhaal, they are her sort of left and right hand man. I heard someone describe them as, who help her basically as like sort of like undercover guys who sort of like almost act like spies a little bit, and sort of plan her. The whole thing is sort of centered around her meeting with the crime lord, trying to get a meeting with him so that she can get him to agree to pay back the money. But the meeting takes place on this island that he owns, and the police are in his pocket. All the major businesses are owned by him, like the airlines and any way to get off the island is owned by him. So it's a dangerous prospect for her to go there because most likely, he doesn't want to pay back the money, otherwise he would have already. And the last person who tried to get it from him, he killed. So she's in danger going there. So they're there to sort of assist her, but also to lay out these contingencies for her to have to escape very quickly. And that's where it sort of unfolds as like a heist movie would. Where, in a heist movie, they tell you, okay, this is the plan, and you see them planning out all the things. Well, it's not them planning a heist, it's them planning getting her off this island in case things go sideways. So they lay out, okay, we've got this route, this alternative route, and then our last option. And they go through all of them. So eventually, when she does have the meeting and things do go sideways as they anticipate, now you see them going through all the things that they planned, and of course things go wrong, as they will. So it doesn't have the real satisfying payoff that a lot of heist movies do, because it builds to this point where you expect, to get your gratification for all this stuff that they've set up, and then it just sort of becomes a shootout. You're promised a heist movie, and then you get like this action-y thing. And it was good. It just wasn't great. It does have a little bit of Guy Ritchie's kind of not trademark humor. I don't know if I would say he's really funny in his films. But it does have like banter, a little bit of banter going forth, which, you expect in kind of a heist movie. But the very little of that, it could have done with a little bit more banter and a little bit better written banter. But otherwise, it's a fairly decent movie to see if you're looking for like a popcorny, action-y type of thing to see, and as opposed to some of the other things out there that maybe might not be appealing to you. So that's the two movies I've seen in the last 2 weeks. Coming out this month, aside from Mandalorian and Grogu, nothing that I'm really dying to see. There's a couple of horror movies. There's a crime movie. I love Boosters. The horror movies, there's one called Passenger, there's one called Backrooms, and one called, or maybe it's just those two. And then there's a World War II movie, another crime movie. So this May has been kind of, usually May is like the big, welcome to summer movie season. And The Mandalorian and Grogu really is the only major big tentpole release.
And I bet Disney is happy about that because, it's not a Skywalker story, so it's going to be slightly harder. It still has Star Wars, and Mandalorian did really well, but it's going to be slightly harder to get the masses, Joanna Cletus,
it's a harder sell.
To come and see this and explaining what it is, because it's a side story.
I think also because it's, I guess you could call it a spin-off from the TV show. I mean, it's a continuation of the TV show, but not everyone has Disney Plus, and not everyone everyone that has Disney Plus, they don't all necessarily watch all the Star Wars TV shows. So there may be people out there that love the Star Wars movies that have never even seen The Mandalorian and Grogu.
One of my thoughts is that they have to be kind of careful, if they include Boba Fett at some point, then half, a good chunk of the audience, I last saw him getting eaten by the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
How is he back?
I have a feeling that Boba Fett and Fennec Shan are not in this. I think the other movie that they said they're going to be making, that Dave Filoni is going to be directing, I think that one is going to include the characters from the Book of Boba Fett, and I think also Ahsoka, maybe. I mean, we were just talking about Ahsoka Season 2. They've announced, but it's not coming out until next year.
He'll keep your Disney Plus subscription.
Yes, that's right. But
price is going up.
The Mandalorian, the one thing it does have going for it is that people love Grogu, Baby Yoda, that don't even watch the show. They love the character. They're just obsessed with the character. He's, he launched like a million memes when they introduced him. So I think that might draw people in to go see it. And I think at the same time, this is probably maybe kind of a standalone story. Yeah. I think that it's probably not requiring having a lot of prior knowledge.
Because for me, I'm really looking forward to it, but it's been a long time since I watched season 3 or season 2 or season 1. I watched season 1 through at least twice, and I think season 2 twice, but I've only saw season 3 once.
Season 3 very much was a little bit more about Bo-Katan than it was about The Mandalorian. But it did sort of wrap up his storylines in that third season, and it sort of gave them like a little bit of a happy ending, which made you wonder, are they not doing a season 4? Which they're not. They're doing this movie. And I think they have hopes of maybe this being a new series of movies for The Mandalorian and for Grogu, because I saw a quote from somewhere, and I didn't see the source of where this quote from not Dave Filoni, but from Jon Favreau, who's the director of this movie, that he has ideas for Grogu to go for years, because he sees him becoming both a Mandalorian and a Jedi, and those two things combined. So I think he has sort of a path that he sees going forward.
I hope they have a path, because the sequel trilogy did not have a path.
Yeah, and I think he does. I think they're sort of they've course corrected their approach, and I think because Jon Favreau, he's the one that co-created the show with Dave Filoni, and he directed some of the.
And the two of them
first
are Star
episodes.
Wars
Nerds.
producers that I trust.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. In a lot of the interviews they've had with him, he talks about how, he remembers going to see the movie in 1977 when he was 10 years old.
The Star Wars stuff that Jon Favreau does, it definitely makes me happy.
And I mean, he. That's your last pun for the night. But the show is that he does have a track record of doing well with fandoms, not only with Marvel, but also Disney in general, because he did the Jungle Book, which is one of the absolute best live-action remakes that Disney has done. It actually sort of was as good as the original and maybe surpassed it. So we're very quickly running out of time. We only got a few minutes left, but you saw the Darth Maul show. What did you think of it?
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. There's some nice surprises, especially, can't give too much away.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. Kind of along the lines of the later seasons of Bad Batch, where, Bad Batch, when it started off, it could have been seen as a kid's show, but it actually had some very dramatic storytelling. And this was very much along those lines, I feel.
And the style of animation was kind of different.
Yeah,
Especially the backgrounds. I noticed they were different.
Sometimes in some of the action-y scenes, it almost felt like it had that like painterly look that some other studios have done with their animated movies. But I liked it. I liked the look of it. I liked the new characters that they introduced. The action scenes, there were a lot of lightsaber duels, but they were all well done. It brought in some characters that you might have seen in some of the other shows. Not a lot, but a couple. And no, it was well done. I enjoyed it. It's the only new Disney stuff we're getting on Disney Plus this year. I don't think there's anything else coming until Ahsoka next year. So, but I recommend it. It was really good. So that's pretty much our time for tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you to Dan for joining us, and
Welcome.
Patrick from taking time from his other things that are more pressing to be here. And thank you again for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks where we will talk about the Mandalorian Grogu, having actually seen it at that point. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Have a good night.